Entering the flow state is easier to do when you come to the game prepared. When disaster strikes and you're facing a catastrophe during your peak moment, how do you keep your cool and stay in flow? And one of the ways that we do this is through planning for those obstacles, through using visualization techniques. As the swimmers lined up at the starter blocks and took their marks, they performed their usual last-second rituals, awaiting the signal to swim to the wall and back for the 100-meter butterfly gold medal. Diving headfirst into the water, the force was just enough to knock his goggles off and fill them completely with water. It would essentially be like putting on a bad prescription for glasses that aren't yours and trying to swim in turbulent waters. He was essentially swimming blind. Rounding the turn, he had no idea how he was doing. He just had to keep on going to the finish line. As he touched the wall to finish, he had no idea how he had done and looked around in confusion. But not only did Michael Phelps win the gold medal in the 100-meter butterfly, he had also set a world record. So how did he do this? His coach Bob Bauman has said that Michael is the best visualizer he has ever met. But something that makes Michael Phelps great at visualizing his performance is that he doesn't only look at the positive, but he is also practiced looking at what kind of obstacles or disasters might come his way when he's doing his visualization practices. And that preparation clearly paid off and led to his amazing performance in the 2008 Olympics. Visualizing your performance is a way to hone your practice and leads to significant improvements over rest alone. And this is especially useful in physical pursuits like sports, because we can't just keep pushing physically without running the risk of overtraining. So visualization is a way to put in extra reps to develop further training in your skills. Perfect practice prevents poor performance. We've heard it all before, and it's something that's especially true when it comes to visualization. Because we can visualize our perfect practice, it's going to carry over and enhance our real life performance as well. If you've ever seen the documentary Free Solo about Alex Honnold, one thing that stood out to me was that he had a notebook documenting every single handhold and foot position on his ascent up the wall. And when he wasn't actually training physically climbing the wall, he was visualizing it and going through the motions in his head. And in one of the scenes particularly, he's getting his hair cut, but his toes are contorting in different ways as he's mentally rehearsing the practice during this downtime. So let's talk about 3 different ways that you can use visualization as a beginner to develop your skills and hone your practice. The first one is positive visualization, which utilizes the imagery of that perfect practice in order to improve your performance. So first off, you want to approach this the same way that you would a meditation session or just kind of calming down and relaxing. So get into a comfortable position, whether it's seated or for a lot of physical pursuits, I actually like to lay down flat on the ground because I find that once you actually get into a really strong visualization practice and routine, you may actually find that your muscles are twitching as if you were actually practicing your sport. So laying down on the ground with lots of space around you is a great idea. Now you want to picture the setting that you would be in during your actual performance. You know, if it's something like rock climbing, visualize that wall that you're going to be climbing and what it's like. What are the sounds around you? What's it smell like? What's it feel like? The more vivid that you can get with your visualization practice, the better this actually works. So the same thing applies for sports performance. Look at that arena of play and how you are going to enter into that situation. And this actually works just as well for more cognitive tasks. This could be something like visualizing your performance for music and for a concert performance or a dance recital. It doesn't have to be just sports performance that allows you to do this visualization practice and get better at your skills in your mind too. So then the next step in this positive visualization practice is to visualize the start or the initiation of whatever competition or game setting that you're in. This could be the tip-off of the basketball or the horn going for the initiation of a race. Whatever it is, you want that to flip the start switch in your mind as you start to practice, and whatever type of form or technique is required, you want to rehearse that perfectly so that you are honing that skill for yourself. This is something that Steph Curry does inside the float tank, which eliminates all distractions around him so that he can visualize his perfect practice of shooting three-pointers. And clearly this has led to an exceptional performance on the basketball court as well. The next technique to talk about is strength, speed, and power. So with these visualization practices, now that you've practiced perfect form, I encourage you to also time yourself if you're in a competition that is time-based. So this is something that Michael Phelps does really well. And even with coaches timing him with his race, he's able to get down to milliseconds within the accuracy of what his actual physical performance is. So go through your mind as if you're visualizing that race. If it's a musical performance, it might be going through the entire duration of the song. You don't have to time yourself there, but you want to practice perfectly for that. Or if you're in weightlifting, you may be visualizing yourself with increasing the weight at each of your attempts during the competition. And this technique for speed and power can also work outside of physical pursuits and sports performance. Maybe, for example, you're a video editor and you're visualizing your video editing skills by rehearsing and speeding up in your mind how you're going through that workflow. You can actually increase your performance in real life as well, which is going to increase your productivity and also get you further into the flow state with that activity that you love to do. Now, as the story of Michael Phelps in the beginning of this video alluded to, when it comes to physical performances, also expecting the unexpected and preparing for the worst is another way that you can make use of visualization practices. So this is what Michael Phelps and many other top performers in the world do as part of their visualization practice. They prepare for when things could go wrong. And by doing this, Michael was ready when his goggles did fill up with water. He was able to keep on swimming without missing a beat and hit that world record and win the gold medal in the race. He was mentally strong enough and also had primed his body enough that he was able to keep on going despite this adversity. So for whatever endeavor you are taking part in, visualize what could happen when things go wrong. You may not win the gold medal after all, but at least you will be better prepared to handle any of those obstacles. And sports performance psychologist Dr. Michael Gervais suggests that we do 80% positive visualization and 20% negative visualization with our practices in order to become better and more prepared to handle that adversity. So I find that negative visualization practice works well for two reasons. The first is it primes your brain to look for other opportunities or other avenues to get around the obstacle when it does come your way. And the second is it's going to help you stay calmer under that pressure so that when that additional adrenaline spike hits, you are not going to fall out of flow. Being able to stay calm under pressure is one of the things that separates the best in the world from everyone else, because they can stay in flow when things get rocky instead of being pulled out from that adrenaline spike and also the uncertainty of what's in front of them. So start to practice these visualization techniques and you're going to see your performance improve. Treat them separately from your physical performance. So you might want to include this as part of a daily meditation practice or other time that you are relaxing so that you've got some extra reps put in for whatever it is you want to perform your best at. It helps to find a quiet and still space, which is why a lot of top athletes are using float tanks as a great way to hone their visualization practices. But whatever you choose, make sure that you take this as seriously as the physical practice and you'll actually notice the difference. So next up, watch this video here about how to use flow states to increase your productivity further. Some of the tips that are talked about, like building your bliss station, can work really great for places to practice your visualization too. And until the next video, find your flow.